Hello and welcome back to the channel. This is your host Sandeep Singh, a retired IRS officer. So today we are diving into a fascinating but often misunderstood topic, that is shell companies. All of us must have heard about shell companies. It comes very often in the newspapers and the televisions and all. So what exactly are shell companies? How are they created? And more importantly, how are they used for both legitimate and illegitimate activities? So stick around, and because by the end of this video you will understand why shell companies are double-edged sword and how they've been used in some of the biggest financial scandals worldwide, across the world. So now let's begin by understanding what exactly shell companies are. A shell company is a business entity that exists only on paper. It normally does not have any office, physical office, or employees, and often then there's no real business operations. It is just created on the paper. It's a phantom company. Think of an empty shell, only shell, nothing inside. Hence the name comes from there. The sole purpose of a shell company is to hold assets, conduct financial transactions, or serve as a legal entity for other businesses. Now let me clarify. Shell companies are not inherently illegal. They are also created for legal purposes. Like many multinational companies, corporations, they use them for tax planning, mergers, and even producing intellectual property. But the same qualities that make them useful also make them attractive for illegal activities. So now the next question which may arise in your head is, how are the shell companies created? So creating a shell company is surprisingly easy. The first thing is incorporation. Just choose a tax haven or a jurisdiction with lenient company registration laws, lenient tax laws. They are known as tax havens. For example, Cayman Islands, Panama, or even Delaware in the US. They are considered to be tax haven. Second, this characteristic is a minimal documentation. You have to register the company with basic information. Often there's no verification of owners are required. We just create it on the paper simply. The next step would be to nominate directors. Appoint third-party directors to mask the real owner's identity. So that is how shell companies are created. So in many cases, shell companies are set up with the minimal scrutiny, and their true owners remain completely anonymous. So now, how are the shell companies misused for scandals and illegal activities? Now let's see. Now here, things start getting murky, and the shell companies are used for many illegal activities. The first and foremost is money laundering. Criminals use shell companies to clean the dirty money, launder the money. They route illicit funds through a series of transactions to make the money appear legitimate. If it is coming through banks, then it may appear as a legitimate. So several transactions are done, money is placed in the system, and transactions are done. For example, the infamous Panama scandal. It revealed how politicians, celebrities, and even criminals worldwide used offshore shell companies to hide billions of dollars. Second is tax evasion. Wealthy individuals and corporations, companies, they hide their income and assets in shell companies located in tax havens so that there is no tax is charged on that. Example, a big and famous company faced scrutiny for using shell companies in Ireland some time back to avoid paying billions in taxes. I will not name the company here. Maybe in the later video I can share with you. Third is hiding ownership. Shell companies help conceal the identity of the real owners, enabling activities like corruption, bribery, and other illegal activities. Example, in the 1MDB case scandal in Malaysia, billions of dollars were embezzled using a network of shell companies. Number 4 is sanctions evasion. Government or individuals use shell companies to bypass international sanctions. Example, in 2022, Russians oligarchs allegedly used shell companies to hide their assets from sanctions imposed during the Ukraine war. Fifth point is round tipping. Business funnel money out of the country and they reinvest it as a foreign investment to gain tax benefits or incentives. So money is sent out and then brought back into the country, rerouting as tipping. So these activities show how shell companies can be powerful tools for these operations in the shadows and these illegal activities. Let's look at some of the real life examples and understand the scale of misuse. In Panama case, as a Panama Papers case, the massive leak exposed over 2 million offshore entities created by somebody in Panama, a law firm. These shell companies are linked to politicians, celebrities, criminals, and this illegal money was deposited there to avoid taxes and hide wealth. In Satyam scam in India, in the corporate fraud, the founder of the Satyam Corporation created dozens of shell companies to siphon up money and inflate revenues, leading to a $1 billion scam. Damask Bank or Danish Bank scandal 2018. Damask Bank was involved in laundering some big amount of billions of dollars into through shell companies in Estonia. This case is one of the Europe's largest money laundering scandals. So these cases highlight how shell companies can enable financial crimes of epic proportions. So now, okay, shell companies are there. So how does the government authority, how the authorities, they detect and combat such shell companies? Criminals will definitely go on doing that, but for the government agencies, the enforcement agencies, how do they do it? To tackle these issues, government and financial institutions are stepping up their efforts. First is KYC and AML laws, anti-money laundering laws. Know your customer and anti-money laundering laws make it harder for the anonymous shell companies to operate. Second is beneficial ownership registries. Countries are now requiring companies to declare the identities of the real owners, true owners. For example, the European Union's fifth anti-money laundering directives mandates public access to beneficiaries' ownership data. Next is global cooperation. Agencies like FATF, Financial Action Task Force, are working to create a unified framework for combating misuse regarding anti-money laundering activities. So despite these efforts, the fight is far from over. Loopholes and non-compliant jurisdiction still allow shell companies to thrive. So what we can learn from here? The shell companies are like tools. They can be used for good or bad. While they have legitimate purposes also, users also, their potential for misuse often makes them a critical focus for regulators, journalists, citizens, and the governments. As individuals, it's important to stay informed and demand transparency in financial system. After all, financial crimes affect us all. They lead to higher taxes, weaker economies, and a loss of trust in these institutions. So what's your take on shell companies? Do you think stricter regulations can curb their misuse? Or will they always find a way to exist in the shadows? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up, like it, share it with your friends who need to know about this, and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the topic that matter. Thank you for watching, and remember, awareness is the first step towards change. See you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.